Thunder here in the spirit of Crazy Horse. You know, I was thinking today about why people don't listen, why they allow certain things, why they don't have a conscience about certain things. And we know what part of that problem is. It's that they're dumbed down. But I was thinking about the history of America and Americans. And I've touched on some of this stuff before, but maybe I can give it a little bit more clarity today. I don't know. The original people that came over here from England, and everybody is taught this in school, I suppose. The original people that came over here were religious fanatics. Okay? That kind of puts things in perspective right away. The people that came over here from England were an offshoot of a Protestant religion, and they were labeled, they called themselves saints. Okay? Saints. That's where the term pilgrim, pilgrim is another word that they used. That's why you hear the term pilgrims. The pilgrims came over. And they were radical thinking people. In fact, they were called separatists. Separatists. Where have you heard that term before? Isn't that what America uses on all these rebel groups that don't want to go along with genocidal actions or whatever? I found that interesting. And I think that there's a deep-seated psychosis in this country that goes way, way back to this original splinter group, separatists from England, European man, and they called themselves the light of the world. They took on the mantle that they were the ones that were going to spread true Christianity around the world. True Christianity around the world. The true religion. So let's look at the history here. What did they do to the what was the first thing that they did to the Native Americans when they came over here, the indigenous people of this land? Well, the indigenous people befriended them and taught them different skills like hunting and tracking and how to get food here, and they welcomed them. They thought they were another tribe. But little did they know that the Mayflower people and the fanatical religious zealots, okay? This is all rather ironic when you think about Christians today calling Muslims zealots. Let's look at the history here. Let's keep looking at it. So these zealots that came over from England, that considered themselves God's gift to the world, and were really outcasts, by the people over there. They were really a splinter group, a rebel faction. Came over here and they proceeded to, after welcome with open arms by the indigenous people here, proceeded to murder them, commit genocide upon them. Some accounts say 300 million people that were on this land, this beautiful land. And these people were beautiful people. The Native American indigenous person was a beautiful person. I hate to say Native American. The native person. America came later. And so we're starting to get a little bit of a drift here as to why people in this country allow genocide today, why they won't stand up for people that are committing murder. And those people are the government of the United States of America. Okay? And these people are all offshoots of those people that formed the United States of America, the original founding fathers, and that whole slew of people, who incidentally, even though there's a lot of patriots that say, oh yeah, but our Constitution has been eroded and all that. Well, it has, yeah. And did you know that some of the things in the Constitution were actually patterned after the Native American tribes and some of their declarations? Because you had the Iroquois, which were the peacekeepers, and so they stole some of that stuff from and mixed it with their biblical stuff, okay? They took over this land, these people did, and they did it on the murder and genocide of Native American people, or Native people, indigenous people, beautiful people. And I've done videos before about all the different massacres that occurred here on this land, like Sand Creek, where the Colonel Shivington massacred the people at Sand Creek, Iron Kettle's people, and did atrocious things like cutting out the private parts of women and wearing it around their necks, stuff like that. Fun stuff, huh? And this is just one incident. One incident. There were hundreds and hundreds of incidents where the native people of this land were kicked off their land. Okay, kicked off their land. Their land was decimated with mining and gold mining and silver mining and copper mining. Still being done today at Oak Flats in Arizona. And this is what the modus operandi was of these fanatical Christians that their acts are 20 times worse than what they accuse the Muslims of today. Okay? In fact, they're demonizing the Muslims just like they demonize the Native American. Anybody that's made an enemy is called a savage or put in a certain light. Okay? But let's get back to the core issue here as to why Americans allow genocide in other countries. Why they allowed this American government to go over and take over other countries, and the result being 200,000 people killed here and 100,000 there, and bombings of innocent people and massacres, genocide, ethnic cleansing, as is happening in Ukraine and as is happening in the Middle East, under the guise of democracy and freedom and Christian. The Christian thing has to go right along with that, doesn't it? Isn't this a supposedly, quote, Christian country? And so how can these people allow this to happen? That's because it's deep-seated in their consciousness that it's okay. It's a deep-seated thing, since this country was founded on killing 300 million innocent indigenous people and stealing their land. That's a deep-seated fact that everybody, if they don't know it on an intellectual level, it's in their DNA. What can I say? And So this country, this American civilization was founded on murder and genocide and by a bunch of fanatical Christians, okay? A bunch of fanatical splinter group offshoot of a Presbyterian group in England that wanted their own way. Hello? And what they did to the native kids with their boarding schools, a kid would go in there looking beautiful with long hair and feathers and a colorful tribal dress or uniform, not uniform, that's what they put them in, uniforms. I'm ahead of myself. They put them in uniforms and cut their hair. Excuse me, and committed atrocities on them. So this is why, when you see what's going down today, the land grabbing of what America, excuse me, what America's doing today, the land grabbing, the taking of land, the stealing of land, they've always done. They've always done. It started from day one, so what's different? And they've murdered from day one. So the people of this land are all offshoots, except those of us that have indigenous blood are all offshoots of this same horrendous group of people. Now, are all Christians bad and all people that came from them bad? And no. Then I would be as bad as they are if I said that, wouldn't I? No, I don't believe that. But that's where it came from, and it's deeply ingrained in the consciousness of this country. It has to be. So when you see things happening in other parts of the world, like when I see things, let's just put this on a personal level, when I see things happening in other parts of the world, and a lot of people do, but I'll just speak for myself, when I see things happening in other parts of the world that are atrocious, that are atrocities committed by this government, the United States of America, who are so full of themselves and so hateful and such friggin' liars, it's unbelievable. And so the people that actually live on this land now are as much slaves to their government as were the Indians that were put into slavery or the blacks that were put into slavery. Now I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. Tough shit. Tough shit. It's the truth. You're slaves. You slave for the man. You slave for the government. You pay taxes that go to things that you don't want it to go for. You barely can keep your head above water even with 3 people working in a family. It's not about getting ahead financially. It's about survival. And you're stupid. Because you've accepted this lot in your life. Who said you had to? And you've also accepted the lot in your life that America is right or wrong. They're your country, America, right or wrong. USA, every day. American flag, mom, apple pie, all that bullshit. Get real, people. Look what your country is founded on. Murder Incorporated. And the reason that I'm a little intense today is because I'm really, really sick of things being exposed as lies. The government here blatantly being proved to be liars in this situation, like what's going down in Russia right now, and the CIA and the terrorists and how this government is a terrorist. It should come down. It should be taken out and reformed or something. They're the biggest terrorists on earth and have been since day one. Since day one. And you people in America need to wake the fuck up. Excuse my French. That word fuck came from fornicate upon command of the king. That's where it came from. It came from England. Didn't Americans come from England too? Just a side note there, that's where that word came from. It's really not a cuss word at all. It's an acronym. Got to bring some humor here to lighten myself up. But you do need to wake up, people. And realize that this country was founded on genocide and murder, and you're allowing it to happen again and again and again, and you don't speak up and you don't see the lies, and you just go along with the parrots of the mainstream media. You go along with their view. You don't have a friggin' mind of your own at all. Now, for those people that this doesn't apply to most of the people that watch my videos, but hey, you might want to pass this out to the ones that don't and share it so that they get a clue as to what the true history of America is. Why is America such a great place? When it's founded on the murder of innocent people and the taking of their land, and then they continued to take the land with the Louisiana Purchase, and the Mexican people were all up in California. That was all Mexico at one time, and Texas was Mexico. A third of the United States was Mexico, almost. And then the other was France. And these idiots came in here, these fanatical religious zealots came in here and formed a government, which we call the Founding Fathers. Hello? And people talk about, oh, the Founding Fathers of this land and the original Constitution. Hell, it was bad from the get-go. There was a few good people like Benjamin Franklin and some others that had some wits about them and some brains, but and probably meant well. But when you have something that's founded on murder and genocide, how good can it be unless you put it through some kind of transformational process? And it's not gone through that. If anything, it's gotten worse. Okay? And it's been ever since day one that the press would put out their spin, and usually their spin was the government's spin. Although in the early days, I must admit that the press was a little, there was a little bit more freedom to express things that weren't true. Now that's gone. You got liar number one and liar number two. You got the Washington Post or the New York Times, CNN or Fox News. You got liar number one and liar number two. And then you got liar number three and liar number four. All parrots of the government here. Now, if you want any true information, you have to go like to Russia Today or Al Jazeera or anything outside this country, and then compare the two. Compare the two, because somewhere in the middle lies the truth. Okay? You have to dig for truth now. But the reason that I made this video about why Americans allow genocide is because it's ingrained in their consciousness. And why do they allow lies? And let's look at this realistically. These people call themselves Christians that came over here. Christ must be turning over in his grave. Yeshua was a good spiritual being. And any resemblance to anybody calling themselves Christians and the original man, Jesus or Yeshua, the original one, is purely coincidental. It's fiction. It's fiction, people, and you people out there that call yourselves Christians that stand by and just let the government parrot your let the media parrot the government's position and you parrot that position over and over again, you're stupid. You're stupid. Wake up. It's so insane, this world right now, that somebody has to speak out about this stuff. Somebody has to get up on the pulpit, because that's the only that's the only thing that people understand here is a guy getting up on the pulpit. Sad, isn't it? But I'm not a preacher, I'm a storyteller. A history teller. His storyteller. I tell stories that are true. You're not going to hear any of this on the mainstream media. And don't you just get sick of these talking heads on the mainstream media that lie? They make shit up to suit their purposes. And you people deserve everything you get if you don't stand up to it and don't finally say, look, enough is enough. That's why I don't think there's too much hope for this country or even the world at large, is because people have been permeated, with this false spiritual belief system that doesn't have anything to do with what they think it does. Okay, if you call yourself a Christian or Islamist or whatever you call yourself, and isn't it funny that Christians and Islamists and Jews are all from the same source? They all have the same father, Abraham. Isn't that funny? I'm just splitting my sides laughing about it. And none of these people can get along. They're all at each other's throats. They're all killing each other. You got the Jews in Jerusalem, the Israelites over there killing off their brother Palestinians. They're all from the same friggin' land. Hello? And that tape loop just keeps playing over and over again. The poor kids throwing the rocks at the big bully Israel, going over there and plugging them and stabbing them and burning them and doing all kinds of things. This world's really messed up. And it all has to do with religion. Guess that's a really strong point I should make here. Because you get the fanatics that came over from England that killed everybody here, and then you got the Jews that they went on their religious wars, and then you got the Islam and Mohammed and that whole crew, they got their religious wars. It's all about religious murders, isn't it? And all these factions in the Middle East, the Sunnis and the Shiites and all those people, that's all religious too. What happened to just honoring nature Like the Native American, the beautiful Native American people that were here on this. I keep saying Native American. That's wrong. It's native, indigenous people of Turtle Island that were here. They didn't have any kind of religion. You couldn't say that they had an organized, dogmatic religion. No, they just believed in Great Spirit and the Spirit that moves in all things. That's what they believed in. They believed that the spirit of nature moved through everyone and every being, and that we are all related. All my relations, they say. So you can take all this other crap, this biblical crap, and this Quran and everything else, and throw it out the window for all I care. It's pretty strange, okay? It's pretty strange that these three groups should have the same father, Abraham, and all be killing one another. Which just shows that they're psychotic and neurotic. They need to ground themselves in nature and in the Native American tradition. There I go again. That's so ingrained too, Native American, you know. But see, people accept that more. That's why I use it. And they understand it more. They don't understand Native. They think you're talking about an African then. Which those people were murdered and subjugated and put into slavery too. Hello? By the same people. So I think what we have here is a problem of deep-seated psychosis created by the original founding fathers, the original Mayflower crew, who were psychotic, fanatic, zealot, religious zealots. And obviously they didn't believe in Jesus or Christ's teachings because they killed people. They killed people. Didn't Christ say, by their fruits you shall know them, by their works you shall know them? Well, we sure know them, don't we? So these people that came over here that called themselves Christians or followers of Christ weren't. They were full of themselves and they made up their own interpretation. Like the only good Indian's a dead Indian, and manifest destiny. They made up their own terms, okay, and then tried to couple it with what they call God. Because they kill in the name of God, and they always have killed in the name of God. And may God damn them. How's that? May their own God damn them. Excuse me. Because they have literally taken their God's name in vain. I'm covering a lot of ground here, but this is all from a point of view of why Americans allow genocide, why they allow murder, why they allow their country, their government to commit acts that are despicable, and then when they're caught in these acts of lying about their despicable nature and of lying about all the people they've killed and are lying about their coups that they have around the world and are lying about the financial system and are lying on every friggin' level that you can imagine and perpetuating that lie and having that lie permeate into everybody's consciousness. That's what I'm talking about here. And if you're allowing this to happen, you're as culpable and as guilty and as complicit in these murders as they are. If you're not speaking up like I'm speaking up right now, If you're not speaking up against genocide and warfare and greed and the taking over of sovereign countries and the using of terrorists on your own friggin' people and the using of fear of terrorists on your own people, and then they lie about it and you don't do anything. You just sit there and say, and you waste your time on Facebook too and YouTube with your dumb comments about who the Zionist Jew attacks the religion, and then you got people saying Jesus is coming, and then you got people saying, you got all these idiots on there. Now, I must say that excludes the people that have commented on my videos and that are followers, not followers, that follow my some of my videos. I don't want anybody following me. Or let's say the people that take an interest in my videos and what I have to say. Those people are excluded from what I just said about idiots on YouTube. You guys are excluded, the people in the council. You don't fit into that category because you know that I make sense and you guys make sense. We're kindred. So this isn't about me specifically being anti-Christian or anti-Islamic or or racist or anything like that. It's just about truth. If anything, I'm anti-religious, organized religion, and false interpretations of the original Master Yeshua in the Bible. And the Bible's been played with and distorted and books taken out and put in. So is every book, every holy book, the Quran, everything else. Went through its interpretations and discoveries, and people put in what they wanted and what they didn't want to suit their agenda. More lies. More lies. They lie about their own lies. How's that? So if you're involved in anything other than direct communication or going direct to your creator or to the higher power or whatever you want to call it, if you're involved in anything other than that, you're severely misguided because you don't need it. So anyway, that's a little history there on why Americans allow genocide, why they allow lies, why they don't stand up. Because they're part of it. Maybe they don't mean to be part of it. I'm not condemning everybody, or I'm not giving a blanket condemnation to people that are waking up and smell the coffee and going, no, that's really wrong what was done to the indigenous people of this land, and this is really wrong, and war is wrong, and murder is wrong, and lying is wrong. What is wrong with people? They need to be of this mindset of the people that are waking up. There are people that are awake to this. And if you're not awake to this, and if you hear this and you're in denial of it, well, then you're hopeless. There's no hope for you. You're what they call a quote-unquote unredemptive sinner. Thunder doesn't like what he sees in the world today. Doesn't like it. I don't like it. And I don't like liars. And I don't like people that don't call out liars. And I don't like people that lie. And I don't like any of that. And most of these people are cold-hearted. Everybody's cold-hearted now. They got ice water in their veins. They don't give a shit about anybody except themselves. It's a self-centered world. It's a me, gimme, gimme, gimme world. As long as I have what I have, then I don't give a shit about anybody else. As long as I'm comfortable, have a roof over my head, have my iPod, have my new car or boyfriend or girlfriend, I don't give a shit about anybody else. It's about me, and what I got, and what I possess, and what I can play with. It's disgusting. There's no compassion or truth or honor or sacred thought or even familial family thought and love anymore. It's bad, people, and unless you sometimes I feel like I'm wasting my breath here, because what'll this video get, like 60 hits or something, 70 hits? And this message needs to be spread out. What I'm saying today needs to be spread out all over America, all around the world, basically. For everybody to see. Talk about pulling covers here. And these friggin' people here are trying to change their own history in America just so people don't see this shit. The kids are learning all new stuff. The kids are little being programmed robotically by Common Core and all this crap. The history books are being changed. So history will die and it will never be known as to what really went down. But it will, because it'll be passed orally, just like the natives of this land passed tradition down orally and stories down orally, so they couldn't erase what the truth was. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm passing it down orally in the tradition of the sacred ways. And yeah, it's on a medium that may not survive or will survive or may not, but hey, you never know. 100 years from now, people might dig this video up somehow, if they haven't destroyed it. Long after I'm gone, and go, shit, this guy was talking truth. He knew what he was talking about. That's why we're in this utopian world now. If the world lasts that long, 100 years from now, which I very seriously doubt. All right, I'm gonna leave it there today. Food for thought, people. Food for thought. As a man thinketh, okay, so he is. And what these people are thinking proves who they are. Proves who they are. All right, people. Little fire and brimstone there from thunder today, huh? Only it's not fire and brimstone, it's lightning and thunder in the tradition of the Lakota Wakanyan. That's what it is. So take it for what it's worth. If you find truth in it, so be it. This is Thunder, over and out.